Ndlovukazi uMasikhosana. Asamkeleni induna yethu.
Hello. Oh my goodness, it's rather loud. Hello everybody. Hello. I hope everyone is having fun or had fun today. It looks like it's a wonderful day. It's a good gathering.
There's no volume. There's none. There's nothing. There's no volume.
It was quite interesting to see the people that came together today. Just to see what kind of people and where they came from, and indeed what event have been putting together.
Increase the volume, please. There's no volume. They can't.
I will have volume. Is that right? Is that okay? Yeah? That's great. Maybe the mic was too far away. I won't keep you long. It's been a long day. Traveling has been difficult. So really, it's just a quick little speech to yourselves here. I've put something together which I'm sure some of you will get on your phones, on your WhatsApps, and the likes. What I put together for you is something that's going to resonate with what Mzilikazi Day is about. It's going to resonate with what King Mzilikazi is all about. So I hope that it's going to be useful to you, that you'll find it useful for yourselves, and indeed to pass on to the next generation, so that we know exactly where we come from and who we are. But before I start my speech in earnest, and it won't be a long speech, I cannot stand up in front of you here without observing protocol, without observing what my responsibilities are as a chief. I have a king. And in having a king, no matter where I am, so long as I'm standing for that king, I need to greet that king. And so I'm going to ask the menfolk, to repeat after me a traditional greeting to His Majesty. It is a traditional greeting to His Majesty. The women folk, the ladies, can also join in, but in better circumstances, they will be either sitting down or kneeling on the floor, but preferably sitting down. That's the normal protocol. And so I'll begin the greeting to His Majesty, King Nhlanhlayamangwe Ndiweni. Repeat after me. Repeat after me. Ngangezwe. 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 Wena kaZulu. Wena kaZulu. Wena kaZulu. Wena wendlovu. Wena wendlovu. Wena wendlovu enkulu. Bayethe. 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 Wena ngane. Siyabonga. Thank you very much indeed. That is the etiquette, that is the protocol that follows the traditional structure, the traditional leadership of our monarchy, who is there today. The documentation I gave you goes into that somewhat and gives you more, because I will come back to you, and in time with His Majesty also. And it will be right and fitting that he's greeted well. Our story, our journey as a people begins way back in the hill of the coast, KwaZulu-Natal, right next to the Ndwandwe nation. Ndwandwe nation with His Majesty's there, Mzilikazi. That is where the journey began. With Ukhumalo, Umtunga, in his homestead, as also a reigning chief. They lived there together. Mzilikazi was of the bigger nation. And in time, Khumalo became a little concerned that Mzilikazi was spreading his wings too far. And in that regard, he sought help. He went to the kingdoms of the Mtetwas, the Nyamboses, and said, "Can I seek some help and assistance?" King Nyambose, King Tetwa, Dingiswayo agreed to that. And so we had two kingdoms coming together to face off another kingdom, Mzilikazi. King Dingiswayo Tetwa, Nyambose, in his ranks was Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu was a young man at that stage. He had not grown up to the Shaka Zulu everybody knows. He was under the wing of the Tetwa monarchy. And so when battle commenced, you had the three monarchies fighting. Two of the monarchies ganging up on one monarchy. As luck would have it, King Mzilikazi maintained his territory and defeated King Dingiswayo Tetwa Nyambose. He was killed in battle. Likewise also, the Khumalo monarchy there at that time was killed in battle. Shaka Zulu was swift. He evaded capture and went out into the other Khumalo monarchies to seek protection. He sought protection and he was given protection. But by that time, the anger-filled Mzilikazi was looking for him. And as a result of Shaka's escape, another three Khumalo monarchies were put to the sword, were put to the assegai. That was the punishment there. But as time went by, Shaka Zulu grew up. One of the Khumalo monarchies that was killed was the father of Mzilikazi Mashoba. He was Khumalo Mashoba. When you look at Ndebele monarchy surnames or Zulu monarchy surnames, they point a finger at the first name of that monarch. Just like what you have in scripture in Bible, whereby they'll say, Jesse, the son of James, John, the son of Paul, Peter, the son of John. Likewise, in our culture, it's the same, whereby that's how we denote the things. And so at that very time, the young Mzilikazi Kamashobane had grown up. He was in charge of his own monarchy. He joined hands with Shaka Zulu. They still had a vendetta against Zwide Galala of the Ndwandwe nation. It was unfinished business. And so, once again, they engaged Zwide Galala of the Ndwandwe nation. He was long in the tooth. He had seen many battles, but he could still hold his own. But there was more to this picture, because in the friendship between Shaka Zulu and Mzilikazi Kamashobane, there was a rivalry. They were both good fighters. They were both good in war. They could both hold their own. So that rivalry was there. The tension was there. A dangerous tension, because there was talk, there was hearsay, there was innuendo, that somebody said this and somebody said that. Shaka Zulu asked Mzilikazi Kamashobane to say, can you please engage the Ndwandwe nation once again? And when it asked for that engagement to happen, Shaka Zulu gave Mzilikazi Kamashobane a regiment of elderly men. He gave him a regiment of elderly men with the hope that in battle, the regiment of elderly men would be wiped out. And in the same vein, Mzilikazi Kamashobane would be wiped out. But because of the skill and the knowledge of warfare, Mzilikazi Kamashobane held his own. Old men beat young men in war. They used war tactics that were too advanced. At the end of that battle, when they were victorious and they had taken all the bounty, the elderly men said to Mzilikazi Kamashobane, did you see what happened? Mzilikazi Kamashobane, did you take note of what happened? Mzilikazi Kamashobane, are you going to hand the bounty over to Shaka Zulu, who has just tried to assassinate you? The year was 1823. 1823. It is the year that Mzilikazi Kamashobane said enough is enough. I'm getting the people together. We are leaving Shaka Zulu. We are leaving KwaZulu-Natal. We are making our own way within this region. It would take Mzilikazi Kamashobane until 1840 to arrive where we are now today. But in that process, he was building a nation. They set off as a small group. By the time when they passed the river Limpopo, they were a nation of nations. We are not just one nation, we are not just one people. We are a nation that's been gathered up all the way from KwaZulu-Natal, right the way up until they arrived at the Ndebele mountain. But in that journey, it is a journey full of excitement. It is a journey that would rival the advance of Excalibur itself. It is full of mystery, it is full of intrigue, it is full of all sorts of things that define a people. And so it was that they crossed over and came to where we are right now in southern Zimbabwe, Ndebele. But when they crossed the Limpopo, because they've been given direction to say, go due north, you will find a flat-topped mountain that has savanna and sweet grass for grazing cattle there. They were looking for that specifically. They were not aimlessly wandering. So when Mzilikazi passed the river Limpopo, he broke his nation in two. One of them went out with his warriors due west into modern-day Botswana. From modern-day Botswana, they went further up into modern-day Zambia. The other half was led by his big chief, Nhlanhlayamangwe Ndiweni, my great-great-grandfather. It went direct, and it took with it the women, the children, the livestock, the wealth, and 5 or 6 regiments. They arrived first at Ndebele mountain. And when they found Ndebele mountain, they settled down there. But the king was busy looking for the mountain in Botswana and Zambia and elsewhere. It would take him a year before he found his way back to Ndebele mountain. When he arrived at Ndebele mountain, tragedy. Tragedy. In the year of his absence, Nhlanhlayamangwe Ndiweni and the other chiefs had enthroned his son, Nkulumane. They had enthroned Nkulumane because there was the festival of the harvest in Nwala, the festival of the harvest coming. And they could not celebrate that harvest without a reigning monarch, without a king. That was the pressure. Why they had to enthrone Mzilikazi's son, Nkulumane, on the throne. When the king arrived, he got all his chiefs together on top of Ndebele mountain and said to them, how can one sun rise when another sun has not set? How can one sun rise when another sun has not set? And with those words, he asked them to remove his son and send his son back to KwaZulu-Natal. He didn't get there. He stopped at Rustenburg, where he spent out his days in Rustenburg, northern part of South Africa. But Mzilikazi had come to the home. That is where the Ndebele nation is. It is a mixture of people. It is a mixture of nations. Our history is deep. Our history is full of intrigue. It is a living nation. It is an honorable nation. It is a nation that I see here before me, whereby, like eagles, you've been blown thousands of miles from home. And you've been welcomed where you have been settled. You have found a nest where you've been settled. That is good. That is well. We will join again. And those new families that you formed are part of us. We are one and the same. And so I'm hoping that indeed I do come back to see you. I'm hoping that indeed we get opportunities in times to come by whereby I can delve more deeply into your heritage, into your culture, into your identity, into what defines you, no matter where you are, so that you are able to face the modern age, so that you can hold your head up high in the modern age and be useful to everyone. I end my speech to you by bringing you news which you've heard, but I need to say it anyway to you, about the passing away of an elderly man, the passing away of an elderly chief, a chief who I worked with very closely for many years. I speak of Godwai, I speak of Maduna, I speak of Umaf, I speak of Unkonje, I speak of Lo Ogoqa Insimbi, Ngomles, Abanye Begoqa Ngomli. I speak of Lo Odla Ngomkhonto, Amazinyo Eko. I speak of Umahlaba Itwa. I speak of Umahlaba Itwa, Unkonje. He passed away, and that is something that I have to say to you so that you understand. But also, in the same breath, KwaZulu Natal, we saw what we should not have seen. KwaZulu Natal, we heard what we should not have heard. KwaZulu Natal, we heard the wailings and the crying that we should not have heard. KwaZulu Natal, the child of the nation, the child of the nation. Gacha Buteles announced that the king Isilo Samazulu Upejana Opume Eskubuyini had passed away. We should not have heard such news. We should have not heard such news. It was painful to hear such news. And within 1 month, when Huku, the main wife, was regent of the Zulu nation, Nhlanhlayamangwe, she had been put on the throne of the Zulu nation to be regent, to rule over the nation within that 1 month. And within that 1 month, once again, the child of the nation, the child of the nation, Ugatsha, Prince Ugatsha Buthelezi, announced again that Her Majesty had also passed away. We saw what we should not have seen. We heard what we should not have heard. A terrible year indeed. But it was not by itself, because the previous year we had seen also the Xhosa monarchy in disarray. As in Nkosi Yamakhosi, the king of the Xhosa nation, uSiqhawu, also passed away. And so we've had a challenging time. But I'm hoping as I close my speech that if you've been listening to what I was saying, you will soon realize that we are a large nation. We are a nation amongst nations. We interlink with so many nations. We interlink with so many royal families. In essence, what I'm trying to pass over to you, that what I see here is good. What I see here is the beginning, is the start. What I see here is something that we will support, we will encourage, and help and see it grow. My passing words to you are the modern day state of Zimbabwe. It is a political state of Zimbabwe, but it is a nation of nations. Within Zimbabwe, there are 16 nations. 16 nations which must be allowed to breathe. 16 nations which must be allowed to coexist. 16 nations which should be allowed to chart their own destiny. It is a profound statement. It equates to someone saying, I will go to Europe and I'll pick up a Frenchman and force the Frenchman to speak German. I will go to Berlin and pick up a German and force that German to speak Spanish. I will go to Madrid and pick up that Spaniard and force that Spaniard to speak Italian. It is on those levels that I bring this news to you. That nations must coexist, but nations must be allowed to breathe. Nations must be allowed to leave their footprint on this earth. To say that, yes, indeed, they were there. Yes, indeed, they existed there. The Almighty, in His wisdom, has given every single nation on this planet something good. There is no nation in the world that has nothing to offer to humanity. Even if you go to the Amazon jungle, you will find nations there that have something to offer. You are also that nation. And you've done very well indeed. And so may I close my address to you, once again, menfolk, by following my words as we speak to our monarch far away. Gangezwe, Gangezwe, Gangezwe. When I went home, when I went home, when I went home, Gangezwe, Baye. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for the chief, our chief, Ndiweni. Thank you very much. Right. We will carry on with Richard Gwenya. Richard Gwenya, can you please come to the stage? And can I ask Stafford